I just took a slurp. I might take a nerd, put him in the dirt. I just read the stove. I don't see a clerk. Got the purple gun, hit him where it hurt. See the ups, they lurk. See him from a distance, I ain't worried, I'm alert. Catch him in my vision, I'ma aim above the shirt. What you doing? I'm trying to build it. Take a lot, but it's gon' work. Yeah, yeah. I'm gon' go so don't make me embarrass you. She wanna play games, but that's what I've been made to. I'm a big dog, baby, yeah, call me Marvin Dude. I'ma take my time as I glide, cause this ain't hard to do. Count my V-bucks, sit back, buy me a car too. Don't mean to break your heart, but it's mine, I'll end up scarring you. We done got it out the mud like Fortnite, been through a storm or two. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yo, what's going on, family? Book of Gabriel, Sunday, fun day. Coming at you live from Taiwan, District 13. Today's episode is Planetary Magic. They not like us. Yo, so astrology's been something that is very polarizing. It means a lot of different things. Actually, it means nothing to some people, but to a lot of people it means something. I think one of the reasons why people like to talk about building astrology is because it's one of the few times that they get to talk about themselves and it's okay, trying to figure themselves out. Now, whether if it truly works or not, that's something else, but it definitely gives you a chance to engage in a exercise of investigating what you're made of. So it's a very interesting subject, this astrology and everything in it. So let's talk about it. I think astrology works only because we live in a simulation. Because critics of astrology deny its influence because there's no measurable process that could cause it. And I would tend to agree with them. Yet I think most of us would agree that astrology works on some level. Yet, how do we make sense of the lack of mechanism? And I came to astrology 23 years ago simply to find knowledge of self. And since then, I've been falling deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole of astrology, numerology, and tarot. Yet it still doesn't really make any sense why this stuff works. There's no reason for a dwarf planet orbiting billions of miles away to have any effect. It really doesn't make sense. Why are humans hardwired to assume their roles as actors in this archetypal storyline that exists across all cultures spanning thousands of years? And why should a newborn with Chiron, for example, squaring Saturn in his chart, have an extremely difficult childhood that's preordained? Let me ask you, why should being born premature have such a monumental effect on the child's personality, even though the DNA remains the same? Got a comment. Let's see. So on with the boys. What's going on Code? He's watching. Streets is watching. On Code. Check his channel out. Subscribe. Follow him. Hit his membership. Hit my membership. If you want to build more, this is kind of a limiting space. It's fun, but you're only getting about 5%. You just hit up my membership. You can have more access to what's really going on. So it seems the only logical explanation why we are dancing this archetypal dance with each other with preordained obstacles is that we're living in a simulation. Why else would tarot work? Why would the Masonic sorcerers use witchcraft that works? Somehow, our intentions and beliefs can influence the world of the physical matter. And it seems that the placebo effect also needs an explanation that our current medical understanding can't explain. And although I have no actual proof that we're living in a simulation, it seems that we are living in a world where our intentions act as a physical force moving us into different parallel timelines. And let me tell you, like, back in the day, probably when I was around like 13, I was sitting at home watching TV one day and I decided to draw both sides of a dollar coin on a sheet of paper. And I proceeded to flip the coin and tried to guess the outcome. I would keep my hand over the coin and stare at the paper in a mild trance. And I could see what looked like heat waves going to the correct answer. And this is when things started to get freaky. When I started to notice how many correct answers in a row I was able to guess, as long as I was guessing the flips absent-mindedly, I was getting correct answers. And as soon as I became aware of the unlikely probability that I guessed a series correctly, the very next guess was wrong every time. It was like more like my consciousness was breaking the streak. And after a half an hour of absent-mindedness guessing flips while watching TV, I managed to guess 20 flips in a row, no cap. And I was trying to ignore the math. However, my rational mind freaked out. The statistical probability of that happening is 1 in 1,048,576 to be exact. And that was 30 years ago. And it put a seed in, actually like 20 years ago, not 30 years ago. I'm tripping. Um, it put a seed in my mind that was very new, because it started to tell me and point to that something going on that I couldn't explain. And even to this day, I can still correctly guess the coin flips only when I'm not trying. I can't record it. I can't have a witness. I can't really give a shit about the outcome. That's the only way it works. So either we live in a simulation or we're able to move my consciousness in an alternative timelines at will with absent-mindedness. Maybe both are actually true. Maybe science will one day discover some connection between our intentions and making actual changes to the physical universe. This is like the maybe time. Maybe there are fluctuations in the quantum foam that we can control with our minds. Maybe we can reverse engineer the soul one day. At that point, my friends, I think we can realize that we're existing in a simulation. This is a realization that I believe will be strongly connected to our human species evolution into higher dimensional beings. When we realize the truth about the true nature of our reality, I believe we'll become ascended beings, we'll become creators of matter, energy, and life. Maybe you'll be able to pay your rent and your mortgage. And we will be realizing we live in a simulation, and this may solve the Fermi paradox, the zoo hypothesis. It merges religion, philosophy, and science. It allows us to become gods, lowercase g. So I welcome your thoughts on whether we're living in a simulation or not. Yeah, man. So if you have a question about what we're talking about simulation theory and how they may explain why we can predict, forecast the events with astrology and numerology and just repeated experiments, hit up the link. Let me know. I got some other jewels I'm about to put down. And thanks, bro. Appreciate that. Great editing. Yeah, that was a fun vlog. Those were vlogs from my time at California Institute of Integral Studies, my last year of college. Walking the streets, taking everything in, decoding the simulation, you know. But appreciate that on code. So let's get back to, well, let's start on the planetary magic and what's really going on. Because this stuff is very, very, very intriguing. Very intriguing stuff right here. Let me put this back on the screen. What's going on here? Saturn Day, GTA, simulation decoding right there. Yesterday's stream. So, yo. Okay, that's good. That's working good. Okay, we got it. So, navigating the chaos of modern times with planetary magic can be fascinating and empowering. So let's imagine for a minute harnessing the cosmic energies of the planet to bring a sense of order and purpose to your life, especially in this year of the dragon, which symbolizes power and strength and transformation in many cultures, not just in Asia, but all over the place. And these energies ain't nothing hocus pocus about it. It's just natural phenomenon that you can witness happening if you're paying attention. They call it magic, but I think it's just conscious awareness, moving with conscious awareness. And I was already doing planetary magic without even knowing it by just studying astrology or just studying the planets. Because even if you're just an astrologer, or astronomer, you witness the planets. You're looking at their characteristics, what they're made of, the distance they are between each other, and how they move. And all you're doing with astrology is just assigning symbols and traits to that, and see it where it gets you. But just remember, it's not the end all be all. That's just a language that people use, just like how you would use Russian or Cambodian. It's a language. Don't get lost in the sauce. So some of the basics of planetary magic involves tapping into the unique energies or traits of the planets to influence various aspects of your life. And each planet carries its own distinct vibration and abilities and attributes. It's like Leo's, their planet is the sun. It represents vitality, leadership, and success. The moon, Cancers. The moon governs emotions, intuitions, and dreams. And then there's Mercury, Gemini. Well, now we're in the moon month, so think about your emotions and intuitions and your dreams and how you speak to yourself and your childhood and your relationship with your mother. Mercury, the smallest planet by the sun, rules communication, intellect, and travel. Gemini, Venus embodies love, beauty, and harmony. Venus is what you love and how you want to be loved. Taurus and Libra. Mars, Aries, and Scorpio symbolizes action, courage, and conflict. Who you go to war with, your vitality. Jupiter brings growth, abundance, and wisdom and expansion to whatever you put it. Think of it as like steroids, cosmic steroids. That's why it's the largest planet. That's why it's Sagittarius and synonymous with long trips overseas, mentally and physically. And there's Saturn, the farthest planet, concerns discipline and structure and karma. This is why a lot of Capricorns are very successful, because they grow up very fast and have to be mature because others around them aren't very mature at the moment. So they gotta pick up the slack, I guess you could say. You know? Yeah, look at this on code, comment from on code. Psyop day. Psyop day. Satire day. Like a lot of satire. Saturn. Satire is like comic relief posed as real dramas. Saturn day. Satire day. Dope. These planets are just templates that you can use to spark thoughts and emotions that can get you out of your headspace of just focusing on some trivial thing that's blocking you, because my focus is to keep focus on what I'm dealing with, but sometimes I need a little kick in the head. Some people shoot heroin. I think about the planet for a second. A lot more safer and healthier. So planetary magic corresponds with daily routines. And the daily routines are synced up with the planetary hours. So each day is ruled by a specific planet. and each hour of the day is governed by a different planet's energy. So, for instance, you can start your week with sun, with the planet sun on Sunday. Like today for me, it's Sunday. And with the sun, you can focus, and on Sundays, you can focus on setting goals and envisioning successes, right? Because remember, we said Sunday represents vitality, leadership, success. Right? Those Leos are rock stars. On Tuesday, Martes in Spanish, Tuesday, channel Mars energy to tackle challenging tasks with strength and vigor. Think about Mars as the OG Sahu gangster warrior archetype that goes all out for what they're passionate about. You can even use, and you're already doing it already, planetary talismans, which correspond with the planet on that particular day. A talisman is just treasure keepsake, like a necklace or a ring or a shirt, a coin that brings you into whatever you're trying to symbolize. So create a you can create one yourself or buy one, a talisman that resonates with your planet, with the planetary energy you're working with. For example, a talisman with a symbol of Jupiter can be worn or carried to attract abundance and wisdom. And these items act as physical reminders and conduit for planetary energies. And the rituals and the meditations also go with it too. Rituals are just habits, fancy word. A cult will say it's a ritual to make it sound like all like it's scary or you can't do it yourself and it can't be positive. But it's a habit. You ritually brush your teeth every day, hopefully, maybe more than once. Ritual and meditation is ain't no thing you have to do cross-legged in the lotus position on a mountain. Meditation is focusing your attention on something or praying. So perform the ritual or meditation on specific days to align with the planet's energies. For example, on Friday, in Spanish we call it Venus. Dedicate time to Venus rituals, Venus habits focused on enhancing relationship with self-love. Now, don't get big headed narcissistics, but it's good to love yourself so you can love each other. Love yourself so you know how you want to be loved. I mean, set the mood, light some candles, not in a pentagram. If you want to, I guess you can do that, but know what you're getting into. Light some candles, use some essential oils, and visualize the energy of Venus surrounding you. Beauty and just, that energy, Venus, man. Beauty, man. Beauty, real love. Because I mean, we're living in the year of dragon, and in the influence of the dragon, which is the snake with wings. Some of the Masonic sorcerers, they believe anytime there's snake symbolism, it has to do with the genitals, the penis. I mean, though, that the year of the dragon brings an additional layer of dynamic, transformative energy. The dragons are associated with immense power and courage and luck. And if you want to incorporate this type of being, embrace change. Don't be so quick to jump on people when they suggest something to you. If it's reasonable, even if it's not reasonable, think about it. Use this dragon transformative power to embrace and drive positive changes in your life. Let go of the old patterns that are no longer serving you. Channel your courage. Think about it. Dragons are fearless. You're fearless when you want to be. Invoke this being energy to tackle personal and professional challenges ahead. Seek balance, Libra. Despite the strength of a dragon, dragons also represent balance between chaos and order. Those Masonic sorcerers in their theater, they love to get at that. They love to bring that up, order out of chaos, but it's not no mystical thing, really. It's just taking care of what you need to be taken care of. strive to find harmony in your actions and decisions. And a practical example is, let's say you're feeling overwhelmed by global events or some personal uncertainties. You could plan a Sunday habit of dedicate your time on Sunday, on the sun's day, to focus on clarity and vision. Light a gold or yellow candle and meditate, pray. Focus your energy on the sun's energy and set, which is like just a symbol of focus, point of focus, to set your intentions for the week. Wear wear a Mars talisman on Tuesday. If you need to confront a difficult situation, it'll boost your courage and assertiveness. You won't just sit back meekly, you'll try to get after it. On Mondays, journal with the moon. Each night, spend a few moments journaling under the moonlight, or imagining the moon if you're indoors, and reflect on your emotions and dreams, allowing the moon's energy to guide your inner journey. Or then at least think about the day that you just had and journal about it, just the facts, and then present them in a way that when you have them in your head and go to sleep, you're rearranging your day in the way you exactly wanted it, so it sets the template for what's going to happen tomorrow when you wake up and you break your fast. So by integrating like this planetary magic with transformative power of the year of the dragon, you can navigate these chaotic times with a sense of purpose and, dare I say, cosmic support. It's all there, brother. What up to Jay right there, man? He was like just born. The guy's like 13 now. Aquarius energy right there. Shout out to Jay and his dad. Yo, so let's to wrap it up. Yeah, I have the link in there. So on code, come up. You want to chop it up and add on this build? You're more than welcome. Other people listening, you're more than welcome to come up. And we have to say, each in terms of these planetary hours and days, each day is divided into a planetary hour, and each hour is ruled by a different planet. And the sequence begins at sunrise, with the first hour of each day is ruled by a planet that governs that day. And the cycle repeats itself every 7 hours. And how you would calculate the planetary hours would be to determine the sunrise and sunset. You can do this on Google on your phone and find the exact times of the sunrise and the sunset for your location on a given day. And then divide daylight and nighttime. You calculate the total duration of the daylight and divide it by 12 to determine the length of each planetary hour during the day. And do the same thing for nighttime. This is not like, I mean, the same magic, but it's like common sense to do this. This is your planet. You might as well decode it and break it down, especially if it can serve you, and so you can serve your purpose. So align the planetary hours, start from the sunrise, assign each hour to a planet following the Chaldean order of Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, the Sun, Venus, Mercury, Moon, and repeat this cycle until you cover all 24 hours. So a practical example of this looks like, let me see if I can get the picture for it. So a practical example would look like, let's say you want to work on a particular project that requires clear communication and intellectual focus. You would ideally choose a Wednesday that's ruled by Mercury to further accentuate your efforts, because Mercury is the intellect and communications. So perform your task during a Mercury hour. So if the sunrise is at 6 a.m. and the sunset is at 6 p.m., the planetary hour would be 1 hour each. And the first planetary hour on Wednesday starts at 6 a.m. It's ruled by Mercury, the first planet right there. The second planetary hour starting at 7 a.m. would be the moon and so on. And implementing the planetary hours in the days, you can plan your actions, or you can align your significant activities with the corresponding planets' days and the hours. For instance, like schedule important meetings or some type, if you have a presentation you have to make or a broadcast during Mercury hours on Wednesday for effective communication. Like right now, it's a Mercury hour for me. Um, that's why I'm spitting that shit. So perform these rituals, aka habits and meditations, aka focuses and prayers. You conduct these habits and meditations during the planetary hour that best suits your intentions. For example, a love ritual might be most effective during the Venus hour on Friday, and create a talisman to boost it even more. Create or concentrate talismans during the planetary hour of the planet you wish to invoke with art, you know. This ensures the item is embedded with the planetary energy. And by integrating the knowledge of the planetary days and hours into your daily routines, you can harness the specific energies of each planet to support your goals. And this alignment not only brings a sense of harmony and purpose to your action, but also significantly enhances the potency of your magical practices in real time, right? You want to get the most of what you're working with. What's up, man?
What's
This is my
going on?
mom, bro. What's up,
Yeah, I know
brother?
your mom's is beautiful, man. I
This is
was
my
gonna comment that too in the video in the pictures that you posted on that I
on her
seen on
birthday.
Instagram.
Yeah, that was on
Yeah,
her
yeah,
birthday, July
yeah.
3rd.
I was like, damn, yo, mom Deuce is beautiful. So for real,
Yeah,
yo, my
appreciate
aunt
you,
was
man.
like that too. My aunt, a couple of my family members, you know what I mean, beautiful family and shit like that. Old school pictures that you be like, damn,
Yeah,
yo, they was looking fly back then, yo. That's
I
crazy.
know, I know, man. It comes back.
Yeah,
It's like some certain people they radiate too, huh?
yeah, no doubt. They have that energy, man.
Yeah. And my
What's
mom
going
was
down?
18.
What's up with you,
I
man?
don't know.
Shit.
I'm just doing this planetary magic, man. They not
Planetary
like
magic,
us.
huh?
Yeah, it's just
I did it already.
the planets, bro. All it is, I mean, not to make it all like spooky and all that. It's just knowing, assigning attributes to something, and then using it as you see fit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like just another language. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So what's going
yeah, man.
down, man? Chilling, man.
Just chilling, just chilling. I'm
I
just getting
told
through
you
this.
about the I told you about the one arm dude before, right? The one arm, the sensei that trained the one arm dude.
No, he
I
didn't
told
tell
you
me
about
about
that.
that.
Oh, there's so many different things that we be, I mean,
What
talking
happened?
about
What
here.
happened?
Nah, with just things in life, you know what I mean? That people people call things like something that they would say is a detriment to them, or something that is a loss, or something that makes them less, or makes them weak, or makes them
Mm,
feel that they're not enough, you feel me, or makes them feel that they can't do something. So this dude with one arm, he got one of his, he lost his arm, so he lost his arm, so he went to
damn.
this master, the sensei. The story was told to me differently, so I tell it however I feel like, you feel me.
That's how you do.
So
It's gonna turn out good.
yeah, so this man with one arm that had his other arm amputated uh
Hmm.
goes to this sensei and tells him that he wants to learn um jujitsu. and he
Right.
wants to protect himself and be able to protect his family, even though he has one arm or whatever. So this master considers it and analyzes his situation, and you know what I mean, with some clinical thought to it. He said, I got you. You know what I'm saying? And he's like,
Mhm.
I got you. I mean, and he trains him and he trains him and he trains him and he keeps training him this move that he's training him to do, and he's perfecting this move, and he keeps only training him this move, this one move.
One
So after
move.
time goes by, and he's training him this one move for so long, he finally there's a tournament that comes, and he the whole all his students go to this tournament. He goes to this tournament. There's a, you know what I mean. So it's a big tournament, and he enters this dude with one arm into this tournament out of all of his students. So they all go to watch him fight
Mm.
for his school, and the dude is like looking at the master like, yo, listen, man, I'm with it, but you only taught me that one move, man. Like, how am I gonna go in there and do anything? Like, yeah, you've been teaching me this one move over and over. Like, you don't teach me no other moves. And he's like, listen, man, go in there with all the confidence in that move. You know what I mean? And go in there and do what you've been doing, and go what I taught you, and do what you've been training to do. And go do it.
Mhm.
So he goes out there, and every match, easy whip, wipe down, whap, whap, wipe down every time, until he gets all the way to the last dude, wipe down again. And he just wiped everybody down one. And he doesn't understand, how did I win all these, like, you know what I mean? Like, he just wiped all these people down. Everybody's like, what, man? Like, they can't even believe that this dude with one arm wiped them all down like that. But when he goes to the master and he asks him, how is this even possible? Like, you know what I mean? How did I achieve this? And he said, listen, the move that I taught you to do is a move that requires, the only thing to get out of that move, there's only one move to counter that move. And the move to counter that move is to grab that left arm that's missing.
Mm. Yeah.
So there's no way to stop him. There's no way to stop him, because the only way out of that move is grabbing that arm that ain't there.
Yeah.
And
That's
everybody's
great.
trained. And
Yeah.
everybody's trained, so their training tells them to grab that arm, and that arm, when they go to grab for it, they look like they're flailing around.
Mhm.
You feel
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Yeah. How do you see that playing out here with people in the state we are trying to find like purpose and whatnot, but it seems like they're grabbing for nothing. But
I
they
don't
feel like
know,
they're
man. It's
they're
like
trained to do that.
there is a point that people feel like they're giving up and stuff like that, and it goes to that other story of the eagle that lives only 20, 30 years in wild, and that it comes to a point in his life when it could live longer, and it has to make a decision, and it could die if it
Mhm.
chooses to give up in life, or it could fly to the mountain and crack his beak and make the beak grow back, and then when it grows back stronger, crack his nails on his feet and make them grow back because they get too long as he gets older. And the feathers or whatever, to crack those off to make the new feathers grow and have a whole new life as an eagle, because it could live another couple years if it does this. But this is an ill story, but it's still not real, because at the end of the day, the real eagle, all it has to do is sharpen its beak on stuff, and the beak automatically stays. You know what I mean? The talons
Uh-huh.
grow as it go, and they won't get dull. You know what I mean? They continue to stay sharp. You know what I'm saying? And the feathers molt on their own, and as it goes, you know what I mean? It's just us as humans. We always need some type of story to give us motivation to do things. So we use animals as a way to see break down something that is a lot simpler than we think. You know what I'm saying? And to add it
Yeah.
to our little complicated recipes of life. You feel me?
Yeah.
But most of it is all like right now I was thinking, um, look at us now, right? The people that are the woke movement, and the people who are paying attention to um compounds that are inside of foods, labels and stuff like that, and things that you're eating in the supermarket that they're giving us, that it's like all these things that they're doing to us as a society, right? I was thinking of when they do the Hitler move, or the wipeout move, where they remove all the adults And
Yeah.
once all the
Genocide.
adults are gone, the narrative can be in place, and they could do a whole new narrative. And look at the narrative switch they could do now with CGI and with AI and with all these things that they could make a whole new. They could look at all the religion and all the stuff, and they could make new ones that are and take and pick and choose the best parts of what, and um off of just like what they need, like when you go to do testing on human subjects, like there's already been enough religious people of every section, and you could do algorithms of which were the best qualities that they had in each one, and they could give you a printout of this and this and make a whole new book that'll make people very subservient and very sheep and very easy to control and very docile, very, you know what I mean, whatever they want, whichever way they
Yeah.
want. And you know what I mean, they
And
could use it.
they can have you train yourself. They
Yeah,
introduce it as self help, but
yeah.
it's just
They only
indoctrinate
train, they only
you.
indoctrinate one gen. And once that one gen is the oldest gen, then they become the grandparents, and they traditionally pass that down, and it becomes reinforced by us. We don't need to, they don't need to continue to, you feel me?
Yeah.
Then it becomes, send them to school, and we continue to indoctrinate them in these facilities. You feel me?
Yeah,
Programming.
that's what we say, that the indoctrination for sure. This is why
Programming.
it's kind of too much overthinking sometimes when I get into the conspiracy mode, where I'm like, oh, this person probably was a plant and they're to do this and that. When in fact, the system's so cold blooded and efficient that you don't need to technically tell someone what to do. The social engineers, the system's set up to make you do it on your own and
Yeah.
choose it if you're not
Yeah.
being using critical
No,
thinking.
no, even more genius than that. They could make you make decisions that you think are your decisions, and they're not your
Yeah,
decisions. You feel me?
right.
And the best movie for that was already been made. All the old school movies back in the day were, as you look at the timeline in movies, it's like, dang, you know what I mean? Like, look at that movie Falling Down. That movie
Oh
Falling
yeah, that's a
Down
great
is the government put all these little things that were set into motion to cause him to have a breakdown, to do all the things he did, and he
one.
did them just on schedule, right on schedule, just like they, just by the commercials he listened
Yeah.
to, just by the radio station he tuned into, just by the fucking stupid things that were happening around him, the traffic jam, everything caused him to flip out. You know what I'm saying? All the reasons why he did what he did. And
Right.
you feel me? And it was all social engineering. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
And
With
he thought he was doing what was right. He worked for the literally he worked for the government, defense contractor,
yo, listen,
right?
social engineering is getting an entire population to believe in a cause and a thing and a flag and a color and a this and a that, and then send them off to fight for this color, for this flag, for this country, or whatever it is. And it's like,
Sense change.
No way.
Yes, way.
Bro, the crazy thing is this guy owns the store and he's doing that, but you get people who work for like McDonald's or something, and they can't give you an extra napkin because they're so indoctrinated, or extra
yeah,
ketchup or something.
yeah, nah,
Yeah,
no, we can't.
ah, they
We
can't,
can't
right?
do it. Yeah, no.
How dare they? Shout out to Shadowback in the chat. Shout out to him
No doubt.
posting those fucking dope ass videos in the Discord and on code. And then Morris from Facebook. This guy's a legend right here. Content creator strategies equals social engineering for sure. Yeah, social engineering's everywhere, man.
Yo, listen, it's from the beginning, right? Like, go to school, the person in the front of the room, the teacher,
Mhm.
is the master of the ceremony, right? If you
Right.
don't listen to them, you get kicked out and you go to the principal, which is a higher force. And in
Yes.
this principal's office, the next around them, when they're saying stuff and they're saying truths and stuff like that, like burn them at the stake.
Yeah, they get all witch hunt, literally, right? That's where it comes
Yeah,
from.
yeah, there's no
Yeah.
way, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody tried to compare witches to because they're
Well,
like
wait,
they were saying like, oh, I think there's gonna be a revolution in America. This after.
that type of thing, or something would happen to them that they
Okay.
like, that's rich, like. But
Yeah.
anyways, besides that point, um the the whole thing, man. Like back in the day, the Pope, one of them popes, um, he like when the Black Plague came, right?
Right.
The Black Plague. So when the Black Plague came, there was a Pope out there that he was the one that he was. He said his belief was that the cats were the devil's instruments to
Mm,
spy on us, on
right.
humans, and that the
I
cats
heard that.
were part of and that so he decided to, especially the black cats, but he decided to um murder them all, like kill all the cats, and they put a decree out to kill them all. And so he didn't want them around him. He didn't want them in his towns. He didn't want them nowhere where he was at. He didn't want the devil's eyeballs watching. And so they removed all these cats. And when they removed all these cats, um, the mice increased and the rats increased, and the rats and the mice carried fleas. And these fleas is what caused the Black Plague. And these
Mm,
fleas and the Black Plague was a confirmation that the devil was mad because they removed the cats in the Pope's
mm,
eyes. So that he was like, the cats got removed, and the devil's vengeance is the plague.
mm.
And so you never know how, like, so many things are connected, that it's like why are these things connected? It's like, why do they believe, why would the Pope believe that stupid shit about a cat? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if you go look into cats though, from Egypt, all the way from there's no other cat besides the house cat that has the eyes like a
Yeah, like
serpent.
a snake. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And in
Not even
Egypt, they
the lion. The lions, the
none
tigers
of
don't.
them. None of them. There's even house cats that don't. There's regular cats with regular eyes, house cats.
Oh,
But then,
that's
but then
right, huh?
there's cats. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of versions of real cats, and then there's the ones with the snake
You
eyes. And the
you know
snake
why the
eyes are.
Pope does that? Because
Hmm?
they have secrets. They have all the manuscripts and technology that they stole from all the indigenous cultures around the world in the Vatican. They know, you know, they know
Hmm.
they're on some other shit. So what are you gonna say? Go ahead about their eyes
Yeah,
again.
it's just it's strange that they show genetic things, like genetic they were doing genetic stuff in Egypt, like not in Egypt, but just anywhere where there's old school depictions of
Uh-huh.
things.
This is what
And
you see on the screen right now. That's the Yaqub story in Egypt in the Middle East. I
oh
have on
yeah,
the screen because
yep,
I
yep.
mean, they talked about how they did that with people, just like how we talk about breeding dogs and Frenchies and whatnot.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
how's that so far fetched that it didn't happen with humanoids and stuff? You
That's
know.
crazy, right? They said they made us to make gold to go get gold,
Mm-hmm.
to be
Yeah.
able to smart enough to do what they say, but not some. They didn't want us smart enough to. They didn't even want us to be able to breed. They wanted to make us
Right.
neutral, like we can't even have kids as offspring, but
Yeah.
they messed up somehow because their genetics was too much within us, and that made us more intelligent than they thought we were going to be, and we could reproduce, and we was a problem. And then for a while we was just given as gifts too, to other giants or whatever they were.
Rockies.
Yeah, giving us gifts
Sup- Right.
and pets
Like he
type thing.
like traffic.
That's why in the what's it called, the Tartarian, right, the Tartarian Empire, they erased all of that because those are the places where you see what I mean by as gifts and like pets. All the doors for the giants had always a little pet door. The way we have a doggy door, they had
Uh-huh.
door,
For
human door.
us?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
little tiny
Wow.
human door. If you look at all the
Morris, you
sometimes,
heard about that?
huh?
In the chat. I'm telling Morris in the chat. I'm like, I bet you
Yeah,
he's heard of that shit. That's crazy, bro.
yeah. You
Yeah.
look at all the giant doors with giant door handles and giant doors, and then at the bottom is
Oh,
a tiny little human doggy door for a human.
wow. God damn.
Yeah,
That's crazy
you'll find
because
images of those everywhere, and it's from
wow.
old buildings that they try to remove too. Like they try to remove everything that's from the Tartarian Empire. That's gigantic castle, gray skulls, like big giant castles with giant rooms, giant entrances and archways. Like it's like they were way too big for a regular, like you know what I mean, in blocks, big giant blocks. What they didn't have no bulldozers and no machinery and things that could do, you know what I mean? Some of these things is
Yeah.
gigantic on another scale.
Yeah.
You seen the thing that I sent you recently in Instagram that was That wall, the Great Wall
The
over
wall
here in the United
facing
States.
it. Yeah, yeah, I saw that. That's
That
wild,
should
bro.
be amazing. Yeah.
How do
Jump.
that is wild? How do dungeons? Because he was saying that he's saying Moorish in the chat. He's saying the Tartarians, the doors, but he's like they're dungeons too. They had dungeons. Is that like where they're like where the humans would be kept probably as a pet? Like
I
how
don't
some
know.
people put their dog in a fucking like
I have
a
no
cage or
idea how we were made. Like if we were made and we were given, like if they really made us, and if but there's always stories that doesn't make sense. Like if you look at
dungeons,
even
bro.
even
Wow.
people, listen, even it's crazy, man. Because listen, even in the biblical texts, right? They still forgot to erase certain things, right? That they were
Yeah.
supposed to rip out. That they tried to get rid of all this stuff, and they thought there was no traces left. They overlooked certain little keys, like when they show the beginning when God supposedly made Adam, and then he made
Hmm.
Eve, and then he made Adam, and then he made out of his rib he made Eve, and then they was
Right.
to make offspring, right? And as they made offspring, they had one offspring was a male, and then they had a second offspring that was a male, right? And these two offspring males go off as they grow and have children. One of them has children with Eve, right? And because it says he knew her and had children with Eve. So he knew Eve and had children with Eve. And then the other son has children with a girl who wasn't made by God, who wasn't made from a rib of Adam, who was a girl who was a native girl. And the girl, whoever she was, had offspring, and there's a whole line that comes from the son of Adam and this girl. And it's like, so who is this
Native.
girl? Yeah,
Who is that?
native. You feel me? So it's like it sounds more like an alien story of something coming through and trying to breed with us as with humans.
Yeah, it does. And then when you to run it back from fascinating to the doors and the dungeons for the human pets, I wouldn't put it past some of these beings, so-called supreme beings, to mate with the or
Yo, it
rape
was
their
the
pet,
front door.
rape
Yo,
their
it's the
pet.
front door, like the front door of the big giant buildings, and the front door is got a doggy door at the bottom for the human.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy, yo. Like so, who knows? And they said that the giants, um, that when they mated with us humans, like the Chihuahua
Yeah.
with a Great Dane, right? Like a
Yeah.
Chihuahua with a Great Dane, it created supposedly a dog that was like, I mean, not a dog, but a giant, and it was like kind of like the liger when you breed the liger to the
Oh,
lion to the tiger, and it
slow
would
though,
create and it creates a giant, giant, giant. You know what I mean? So they said that these dudes were a mile high, giant.
bigger than their fathers.
Yeah, like the
Wow.
the giant, the Tartarians are like 12 to 15 feet type men,
Uh-huh.
giant men, men of renown, right? The
Yeah.
giants, the 15-footers, and the big ones are the ones that are combined. Those 15-footers could have babies with us, and those become the gigantic ones. Because somehow the
Hmm.
DNA clash makes a liger type of thing that it just goes has no growth stopping thing, and it doesn't have no growth inhibitor, and it just becomes this giant Goliath giant.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It makes
Out of
sense
hand, huh?
genetically. It makes sense
Mutation.
genetically to yeah to have like something close to us, because if you look at the little keys that they left in history, right? They don't really show us nothing in history, but they do show us stupid things, like they found a whole bunch of different hominoids, and all these different hominoids are not monkeys, they're not gorillas, and they're fucking they're not human either. They're fucking hominids. You know what I'm saying? And these motherfuckers
Yeah.
look just like us, walk on their legs. They look like the Sasquatch motherfucker that's running, that people say don't exist and can't exist, but they got 1,700 different versions of Sasquatch that are short ones, that are little motherfuckers that are like 6 foot tall. I mean 5 foot, 5 foot tall, 4 foot tall, like dudes that are all Sasquatch dudes. Like, you know what I'm saying? That look
Yeah.
just like us. And these little dudes, they don't got giant feet or nothing like that. They got regular. They look just like us, but they're hairy from head to toe. And we have that gene in us too, because there's been humans that are born with the genome that their hair follicles grow all over the entire face
Yeah. I
and
seen
they
that.
call them dog boy, they call them dog girl, and all this other
Seen them
shit.
in the at the sideshow freaks.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
now historically, right? There's 17 different versions of humanoid, there's interbreeding with them. There's got to be one that has a growth inhibitor gene, just like the liger. When you combine the lion and the tiger,
Mhm.
that the fucking liger grows three times bigger than both parents because he has no growth inhibitor, and it'll continue to grow until he dies. And so
Mm.
there's gotta be, you know what I mean? It makes sense for there to be giants genetically. If there's so many virgins of humans, there had to be
Yeah.
interbreeding. And they even said that the Neanderthal was bred with the other one to create different versions of humans. You know what I mean? Redheaded people and all this other stuff have that chromosome that comes from a different species. You know what I'm saying? Of humanoid.
Yeah. This is Morris is calling it saying about chimeras. Those are
Chimera.
hybrids, right? Like
Yeah.
chimera.
Chimera
Yeah.
is a combination of different things that these, they, I guess they would combine. Does the animal, like the one that has a tail that is a snake, and the body of a lion, and the head of an eagle, and the wings, you know what I'm saying? It is like
Yeah.
crazy stuff like
Yes.
that. Those are chimeras.
Hmm.
There's
Like
also
the best
dragon ones too.
of all the attributes. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
dragon's like a snake with the wings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A chimera.
You see the Dinka people of Sudan are like 7 feet, 8 feet tall.
That's crazy, right?
Remember
Seven,
Manute
8
Bol,
feet.
the basketball player, Manute Bol?
Yeah,
He was like
Manu.
7'7". Yeah, he's from
He's
there.
from he's from where?
Yeah, Dinka, Sudan, Dinka
Where?
people, where they're like 7 feet, 8 feet tall, men and
That's
women. Yeah, yeah,
I would love to
yeah,
go out there, yo. What you mean?
yeah, man. Which is weird because it's like all these places that have these amazing feats and attributes, geologically and also for humans. You notice that they're like the places with the most war. Like Sudan had like major civil war for the last 20 years, and then like Israel, Middle East, like Iraq.
What you mean?
There's always a
Like,
lot of strife and chaos on these
yeah,
places that are like
strife and
sacred
chaos.
spots.
You find the strongest
Mhm.
people.
People, huh?
Yeah,
Right.
survivors. Yeah.
Hey, Morris Dunn said, "Bro, spitting. That's Mystery Ozo, bro. He's some type of high power mute. He's some type of high power mutant. That's too too weird, too weird to live and too strong to die." Yeah, man, this guy's
Man.
another level, man. Mystery Ozo. What's up, man? So what's up, man? We got some trip reports.
Nah, but the shroomies is on deck. They coming through, man. I got a little um batch about to come through of the real Bill Nye the Science Guy. Um Rusty Whites, albino rusties, yo, these mushrooms that look like everything would be poisonous because mushrooms that are white that sporulate rusty brown spore prints
You gotta
are
be careful with
poison.
that, right?
Yeah, those are poison. If you find those in the
Yeah.
streets, those are poison. If they're white and they
Uh-huh.
produce brown spores, don't eat that. But if it's those species that I have, it's
Uh-huh.
not poisonous, it's a psychedelic. You know what I'm
Wait a
saying?
minute.
But
It's still brown.
yeah, it's purple, it's
How the
rusty
fuck are we
white.
supposed to know?
Yeah, because you know why? Because so in Colombia,
Uh-huh.
they found a mushroom that produced rusty brown spores, and when they analyzed it, they found out that it was a psychedelic mushroom, but it wasn't that strong of a psychedelic mushroom. It was just had an amazing attribute of the rusty brown spore print. So they what they did was they combined that mushroom with the albino A plus, and when they combined it with the albino A plus, it created a hybrid, which is now called the rusty white. This rusty
Mm.
white has the Colombian rust spores on a on a on the I think it's albino double A albino A plus or something like that that they use to combine with the rust spore to make that mushroom. But now they stabilized it to the point that now it produces it becomes its own strain, its own
Mhm.
what's it called, subclass, you know what I'm saying, subspecies, that it's just now continuously, even the spores come out, right, when you grow it, it just keeps on, they come out albino, and they come out, you know what I mean, with the rusty spore prints. But the thing that about these mushrooms is that they produce highly visual trip reports, yo. Like, you see disrespectful things in the room with you, like,
Disrespectful.
besides eyes closed visuals, you see like visuals, like you see things with them. So I'm gonna see if that's gonna be the case again, because it happened with a strain that I had before. It gave me some of the most epic trip reports ever. The ones that I told you about, the um, batteries not included.
Wow.
Yeah, that
Those
came
ones
from that
did?
strain. That strain
Okay.
right there. Hmm.
Man. Mm. What is it about those? Because those look just by visual, they look disrespectful. The way they're
Yeah,
shaped,
they are. They
rusty
are
white.
rusty whites. If you Google them, if you Google rusty white mushrooms, you'll see them. They look like, I don't know. Or they could look also like oyster mushrooms, kind of like
Right,
blue
right,
oysters.
right.
Blue oysters.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Holy
Those-
shit! I just got it. Like this whole time, Blue Oyster Cult. Don't fear the Reaper. They sing that song, right? That band.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm thinking like oysters, like you slurp up the seafood, right?
Ah,
They're
yeah.
talking about blue oysters.
Yeah. Blue oyster mushrooms look
You,
exactly
you knew
like
about that?
psychedelic.
Why you tell me that? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a cold
Anybody who,
name, bro.
and the
Blue
crazy thing
Oyster
is,
Cult.
right, that you could teach a kid, right, how to grow oyster mushrooms, right? And everything you need to know. And especially blue oyster mushrooms, because they look
Uh huh.
dope and they taste good too. So, but oyster mushrooms, the techniques to grow oyster mushrooms is the exact technique to grow psychedelic mushrooms. So
Exact same.
exact,
No
nothing
way.
different. So you could teach the kid a whole science project that he could take to school and grow them some blue oyster mushrooms that they could show the class,
But
and they could learn this technique. And then when they grow up one day, you could be like, "Hey, by the way, you you could use a different spore plant to grow those same things." The skill that they don't know they have hidden, the hidden
That's
gem,
wild.
the hidden gem
That's super
waiting.
wild. But why
Yeah,
didn't you go in these subreddits and Facebook groups also, and then like these people want to be, I'm the intellectual owner of how to grow these mushrooms correctly, and you need a
trash.
hazmat suit. What else
I
do you
went in
need, huh?
there. Listen, my boy invited me to a group, and they had a Discord that was
Uh-huh.
supposedly dedicated to Willie Michael. Because at the time, I was following Willie Michael, and then I went to this group, and they was like hacked. Like, people was like, he's not even coming in here, man, man. There's people talking shit. And they was like, we got a different group over here, Michael mycology group, whatever. So I went
Yeah.
into this mycology group, and it was just a whole bunch of mycologists in there that was growers in there growing all type of shit or whatever. And I was looking at all their grows, and I was watching, listening to where they talk, and people were telling them to do this and tell them to do that. A bunch of know-it-alls,
Oh
like you
man.
said. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I just went in there and I just crushed everybody in there, dog. Like, I just showed pictures of girls, like epic girls. Like, if it was high time, I took it because at the time I was like, my era, because I'm an OG. You feel me? I'm
Right.
45. You feel me? So it was
Right.
like, in my era, we was like High Times magazine, dog. Or High Times magazine. We're looking at those different buds that there was epic grows. Like, I figured when I was doing the shrooms that I wanted to do High Times magazine quality grows. So I
Hmm.
made sure that I used the right. I dove into quality of genetics. I dove into what makes the mushroom look bigger or better, or what kind, how do you isolate, how do you do this. I learned all the little side missions that I needed to learn when it comes to not just growing mushrooms, but how to isolate, and how to make this better, how to do this thing, how to make it more efficient. And in doing that, I made epic grows that I was posting, like, yeah, right. People were like,
Uh-huh.
you need to have a pressure cooker to do this and to do that. And I was like, you don't even need a pressure cooker, man. I was like, I make that shit off of nothing. I'll make it off of some disrespectful bucket of water in the backyard. Yo, what you mean? And they was like, yeah, right. And I was like, yo, Watch this, pow, pow, pow. And I started showing them the grow from step by step booklet without no skips in it so that they could see that it's not just a picture of before, like a picture I pulled off a line, a picture that I just, oh, look at this grow, the end result. Now I was like, this is what you do first, this is what you do second, this is what you do all the way to the end, pow. And they seen all the pictures and they was like, dang. And I kept showing different grows the same way from the same bins, different strains, pow, 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 pow. And everything that I had was just shutting them up. And then there was even people commenting, like, you know how it goes. They was like, yo, man, like I've seen a lot of people in here that had shit to say about how to do this and how to do that, but I never seen people shut it down with the proof behind the product. Like, you feel me? How they did it, what to do, and without, like, bullshitting. I didn't even have to train nobody, nothing. They could just go to that post and learn everything they needed to learn. I didn't need to tell them nothing. Like, you know what I mean? I gave them all the math.
Yeah.
But
is your math disrespectful? I'm about to show this right now.
what?
I mean, let me load these pictures from last year. I think it was
Oh,
this one. Let me show you. This shit was.
that was
Remember,
crazy.
I put him in the damn psych substance subreddit. They were losing their mind. Remember, we got like 10,000 views and shit.
Yeah.
Shit.
You're out of control, bro.
This is filthy, dog. This is filthy. Yeah.
That screen like
They're
that,
loading
man.
right now.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Oh man. Wow.
What the fuck is that? Yeah.
Those are some disrespectful ass rooms right there. That's all a little something, something. You know what I mean? They're not even supposed to be that broad, like, yo. Those are supposed to be Mazda topic, and Mazda topics are supposed to be little. You know what I mean? Those are happy. Look how happy they look, yo.
They look like those Pokemon. Dig, Diglett, dig. Dig, Diglett. Look at that. They're all happy. They are happy. They're not like droopy or anything.
Yeah, them shits is all. I think those are. Matter of fact, those specific ones
Those are
are.
actually obscene the way they look,
Those
bro,
are
with the curve.
aborts. Those are baby aborts. Listen, all those right there are baby aborts from the PEs.
Baby.
Those are baby aborts right there.
Oh hell no.
Those are just the end little scragglers. Those are little baby scragglers that didn't want to grow up.
The scragglers.
Yeah, for real. For real.
Why are your scragglers bogger?
Watch.
Like
Look at the way they look
Thor.
real good, right? You see the way they look, and as you look
They're
more
kind of,
pictures,
yeah.
you're gonna see the exact ones, but bigger. Way bigger.
That's the most healthiest stragglers I ever see.
Yo,
Yeah.
you see when you see the adults, then you're like, oh, no wonder, damn.
That is wild, bro. Yeah.
You've seen them all in there, right? All the
Yeah, I see them. Yeah.
PEs and shit. Yeah.
The stragglers. 10-to-1 ratio to dry, right?
But people see those and they like, yo, those look so healthy, yo, every time because they don't notice that the bottom of them, you see the end of them, how clean they are.
Huh?
It's because I
Yeah.
use paper towels. Paper
Mm,
towels clean them like if they were in the supermarket.
yeah. Wow. They're like, yeah, they're not even dark at the bottom or anything.
Only
It's just
because those are freshly cleaned, but they're starting to bruise. As soon as they're starting to turn purple, like blue stains all over them after wiping them off. But if I took the picture as soon as I was done wiping them off, and then they were starting to turn blue.
You
I
have.
ate all those shrooms.
What'd you say?
I ate all those shrooms.
You ate all of them? Oh
Yeah,
my god! I bet you did it in one sitting too.
Yeah, probably, yo, because that's not even a lot. As soon as you dry them out, there's probably
Jesus.
like 5 grams there, maybe
It's 10 to 1.
7,
You said. I think you said.
maybe 7, maybe
Yeah.
10. Yeah, if it's 10, then it's 10. Yeah, because if I dried it, it was definitely 10.
One.
Because them things are solid, they're not hollow. Those shrooms right there are all heavy. They're not hollow. Like if I break them, then the side is solid. Because they're PEs. I mean, they're Melmax. Those are baby Melmax.
Even when it's dried, it looks pretty thick. Because usually when you see these people, they look stepped on. When like literally and figuratively, not just like this don't look stepped on right here. Look, it still has it has bounce to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's 10 grizzles right there, right? 10 grizzles, 10.5 grizzles.
You need to you need to take those shrooms and go to right here in this picture, East Oakland, right
So
here.
in my hand, right, that picture that you showed, that was
Uh-huh.
100. That was 100 grams wet in my hand.
This one right here, that one, this one.
I don't see nothing. I just see a bunch of.
You can't see it.
Nah, I just see the all the links up, the tabs, all your tabs are up. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I see, I see it. Yeah,
You seeing
those
that?
right there. The one that was in the first picture that I had them all in my hand, whatever it
Hmm.
was, the picture
This
that I
one,
put in it. Yeah, I think that's all of them right there,
yeah,
or whatever the amount it was that I said that I think I posted them at the same time because I can't remember just by photo, but or it
yeah,
was a chunk that was all 10 grams, 10.5, just
yeah.
by a handful. When they were wet though, it was 100.
100. Wow.
So it's 100 wet, and then when you dry it, it turns into 10 grams.
So basically, even though let's say you did eat the wet ones, technically you would just go by what it
No,
would be dry.
yeah. So if I
That was
already know
still,
that for a fact that if I eat
yeah.
100 grams wet, that's only 10 grams of shrooms.
But that one guy that was like feeling salty from our trip reports when we were being more consistent with the videos. Remember,
Mhm.
he tried to like promote it his video with like this is a 50-gram trip when in fact he's by the way they're wet.
Yeah, yeah. That means it was only 5 grams.
Jeez.
That was a 5 gram mushroom trip. It was not to take from them. You know what I'm saying? 5 grams is a
Yeah,
good
yeah, yeah,
dose.
yeah,
But
yeah.
100 grams is 10 grams of mushrooms.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always go by the dry weight because the dry weight is more accurate
Right.
of how much psilocybin that you're getting into your body. Because most of all the weight, that's why it's a 10-to-1 ratio. Because if it's 10-to-1, 100 grams down all the way down to 10 is a 10-to-1 ratio because all of it was water, and the only
Mhm.
thing left in there is magic.
That's it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he find them here? This is Chichen Itza in Yucatan Peninsula where I went
Somebody
there.
found some shits
It's
out
probably
there.
there, right?
Yeah, somebody found some strains out there for sure. There was strains out there that people had. That you know that Terrence McKenna talks about that in Arecibo, Puerto Rico, they have the biggest satellite dish in the world, and they're searching
Yes.
space
Yeah, I remember
for
this.
extraterrestrial intelligence, for answers, for messages, for anything, right? And he
Yeah.
said that he went out there to see the Arecibo um, satellite dish, and then when he went out there, he was amazed that the entire field under the satellite dish was covered in psychedelic mushrooms
Hmm. Hmm.
because they use cows to mow down the grass and all the weeds and
Yeah.
all the stuff that grows because they can't
Hmm.
mow it because it's too much. It's too much mountainous and stuff for them to do it. So the cows
Yeah.
do it,
The cows
and the
do
cows
it.
shit, and there's nothing but psychedelic mushrooms everywhere under the telescope looking for. I mean, the satellite dish listening for life forms. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
very ironic. Very ironic, huh?
Yeah,
Very ironic when they can just go inner space to
yeah.
find the outer
Which is
space.
the only way,
Right.
really. Everything else is
Yeah.
bullshit.
This is why I don't know the when I think of UFOs and all those things, I'm thinking like, bro, those are most likely reverse engineered uh like humans, military that did stuff. And like what's really going on is like what you saw, the batteries not included.
Yeah.
Those are that's how they come to you.
I could only go by like experience, right? So I never really voiced my opinion in things that I really know nothing about, or that I
Yeah.
don't really I don't feel that I really don't have an opinion on it. I don't want to make one up on the spot. I'm not one of those dudes. So but when
Yeah.
it comes to these aliens and stuff like that in space, I always could spot things that are flying through space and shit, weird shit that is way beyond
Uh-huh.
our aircraft, way beyond our space, our airplane capabilities at nighttime, especially when the stars are out. you could see the distance and the depth and the space and in the sky of how far you could search for airplanes. Matter of fact, of the highest one you could possibly find, that is the smallest speck you could find of an airplane, and that's the highest you're gonna ever see any airplane go. Beyond that speck, never airplanes that are gonna be, and then you're gonna see stars way up there beyond that stupid airplane, and in those stars you will see shit flying through them, and that shit is not a
Mm,
plane. It doesn't blink, it doesn't have
yeah,
lights, it doesn't fuck, and it's disrespectful as fuck. But it's like, who knows what the fuck is out there, you know what I mean, and what that stuff is and what it means, you know what I mean. We
yeah.
have no idea. And but as far as these alien beings go, like, um I don't know, bro. Like, I've seen strange shit, you feel me? Like, I've seen strange shit with my own eyeballs that was like weird to me, almost, like when I told you before, like when the Gargamel theory type of thing, that you're just looking through bushes and you see these a whole city of UFO beings, and you're like, yo, and they got a whole and they
Release.
could just, you know what I mean? And then when you try to find it
Soon.
again, it's already been deconstructed. They moved the city out of there, and there's like a just a blank spot where it used to be. Yeah, like there used to be a city. I'm telling you. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
This
Like,
is
you
like
feel me?
our your mystery aquatic adventure trip
Yeah,
report,
yeah, yeah, for
right?
sure.
Like
That
like
was the weirdest one, because the biggest message I got out of that one was that technology itself was a parasitical entity, was a parasitic entity. So our computer technology, our quantum computer, all these things are you're not using,
uh-huh.
and you could hear, like, seen the toroid field that has been described, that they say exists, and I think they have to say it because people have seen it. You know what I'm saying? I've seen the toroid field, that it comes from our heart and our breathing, and it surrounds us, and its reality is warped by it everywhere we go. Like, we
Mhm.
bring this,
Affected, huh?
um huh.
You think the Earth has one too? Its own?
I have no idea, bro. The earth is so big that I don't know. We're just a little bug on whatever it is that's
Yeah,
going on.
it
We
would
don't
make
know if it's
sense, right?
we
Because
don't
we're
know
like a
nothing.
cell of the Earth. We're like a cell of the Earth. The guy in mind, as Terrence used to say, it
You
has a
know what
mind,
the
but we're cells of it.
biggest thing of the Tartarian Empire, that the government has taken away from us, and it's taken away from everyone, and it's taken away the main thing to see where our reality really is
Mhm.
airships. Giant,
Oh, zoom out, right?
giant, yes, giant airships that flew through the air, that were just like in the cartoons and the animation, that were like airships that could go places beyond the line of our belief. You know what I mean? That could go places.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go to the Antarctics, go to places, and there's pyramids everywhere. There's pyramids in the United States all over it. Yo, they don't even want to show them to us, but they're everywhere. There's pyramids out here that are covered with grass and all this stuff. They're the same exact thing from other countries, where they uncovered the mountain that was shaped like a pyramid, and it was an actual giant
Mm,
pyramid underneath it. There's a bunch of those everywhere, and it's like, there's giant trees that look like mountains to us, and you can see that it's a tree when you go up
right.
and you go higher, and you can see that trees somehow turn into stone, and so do humans. If you get buried somewhere in the right place, they have found humans with boots and normal things on that have been turned to stone, like if they were ancient. And they're not even ancient. They know they're not ancient because of the clothes that they have on, that are underneath the stone shit, that are wrapped up in this whatever it is that happens to us, that we become like petrified wood that turns into stone. And there's giant trees out there that, you remember, did I ever tell you, right? Dang, bro, I got confused with things. You feel me? Like, with the mind space of how much shit goes on in my life, and to balance it with, trip reports that were out of this world. But listen, I had this, I don't know if it was a trip report, yo. I don't remember. So I'm gonna tell you the story of whatever it was I seen. I seen that we humans, I was on a tree. I was somewhere looking at a forest that was before me, far as the eye could see, but there was giant trees, bigger trees than I've ever seen in my life. And I, when I was walking, I realized somehow that the road that I was walking on, the streets, everywhere that I was at was carved on the side of a tree the way ants make trails in trees. And I was on a tree that was vertical and I was walking on it. Gravity was somehow keeping me on the side of this tree. It's probably not even gravity, it's electromagnetic fields, right? Was
Mm-hmm.
keeping me on the side of this tree. And now I'm getting like I was getting like that feeling that you get when you get dizzy or like if you're gonna fall like because of the I was like away the flip flop of reality looking up, and I was noticing that I was sideways standing on this tree, and we was tiny. Our human species was like fleas compared to anything on this earth. Like we was tiny little fleas on the tree, and our entire species was from this tree. And I was like, yo, like this is the fucking original tree where humans came from. Like, what is this? What am I seeing? Right.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
when I came out of this, whether it was a trip or it was a dream, because I hardly ever remember my dreams, but I can't call it, so I don't want to say which one it was. But I found all the giant mega trees that were cut and they look like they've been timbered down by giant axes. They've even found giant axes sticking out of mountains, like, and they trying to hide this axe
Hmm.
handle, axe embedded into this thing. Like, you feel me? Like, it's ridiculous. A
Yeah.
giants. Like, so it's like, but besides that, I think like, I took a psychedelic trip for sure, right? That, I seen a tree that was so big that the top of the tree was beyond the dome, like in space, right? And the top of the tree was so big that it was growing into space. And so somebody, I didn't see who though, right? Cut this tree at the bottom like with a saw or whatever, with a laser. I don't know what they cut it with. That the bottom of the tree became like that mountain called um
Devil's
Devil's
Mountain,
Tower.
whatever.
Devil's
Yeah.
Tower, yeah. So
Yeah.
it was cut at the bottom, and the tree was so high that space sucked it up. And as it got sucked up off of our planet, the
Hmm.
before it got sucked up though, humans dug the inside of this thing like termites and turned it into a giant, I don't know how many story human habitat, gigantic thing, yo, that was no windows, no doors, no nothing on this thing. Only the inside of it was human habitat all the way through this thing. And then the entrance or whatever, they had ways to cover them and stuff like that. And as this thing got sucked up into space, became petrified, and as it went into space, it became petrified, and now it's a giant spaceship that flies through space. That they have stone, like some type of stone technology to move, to do things. I don't know how it worked, bro, but it was. And then when I seen the Devil's Tower thing, I was like, bro, it made more sense to me when I started finding tree stumps and bigger ones. Like, yo, like these trip reports are connected somehow to um, things that have happened, things that people have thought or seen, somehow is being recorded. This is how somehow probably people have come up with the idea that there's a God out there that is
Hmm.
recording everything we're doing or everything we're seeing somehow, or something, the ether, somehow there's something, everything's being, and it's probably nowhere to drop the needle either. Like this present right now can probably go to past and probably could go to future if we choose
Hmm.
to, but we don't know how to. But
Yeah.
it's all being recorded somehow too. And I think
Yeah.
there's ways to change it, and it becomes altered if we want.
And then what you're doing is techniques of trying to edit it, modify it, go back and forth and forward. Because if it, I think I believe you too, and people might call it like the Akashic records or a morphogenetic field out there that's
Mhm.
always recording stuff. And Allah in the Quran it says Allah put two angels on
Mm.
you to
You,
to write everything down. But from a personal level, I believe that we're always recording everything with our subconscious. So
Definitely
everything in our
somehow.
conversation right now is being recorded, right?
You
Everything.
know how
So
I
you can access that probably.
you know how I came across this information is because I went with someone to an ayahuasca retreat, right? And when I went there, I was sitting, they separated me from the person that took me to the ayahuasca retreat because they don't want people who come together to sit next to each other because they don't want them to go through some shit and think they're trying to help the person and fuck up their
Mhm.
trip. So where I was seated at, next to me was this lady, and she was very interested because it was a dude that was sitting next to me, and we started talking and chit chatting, and he asked me a few questions. I don't know what the key questions was that he asked me that I started talking, and when I started talking, the lady had her ears perked up, and she was like, "Hey." And she started asking me some questions, right? And the lady started asking me this, that, this, that. And I started seeing she was very strategic with her questions. And then she was like, I told her the thing about the tree that I just told you, right? So
Right.
because she somehow she made me remember that. She started talking to me, and as she was talking to me, she asked me, "Oh, have you ever seen something like that had to do with like you know what I mean?" Like she's asked me something like that, and I said, "Yeah, like I seen the trees get sucked into space and turn into like petrified um tree, like, and it was a ship though, and it was inside, and it was people in it, like Mayan dudes, like regular brown people. You feel me? Um, riding this thing in space, right? And she tells me, "You ever heard of the 21? The no, the 20 and she said the 20 and I think it's called 20 and back program." And I
Hmm.
was like, I have no idea what she. That's why I can't even say it. But she was asking me about a 20 back program, and then I was like, no. And then she kept asking me questions right after. She was very interested in me, and I told her like I'm very militant. I wear naturally, like I wear army fatigues every time, all the time. Like I'm always like very militant with a lot of things or whatever. So she was kept on continue to tell me about this 20 back program thing, and I was like, no. And I had happened to have this. I don't have it right now on me, or it's somewhere in the room, but it's this necklace that I have that is a string connected with two coconut husk pieces that are shined, and they have a zipper connected to them with a mesh thing in the inside that was been glued to them to make a little pocket that goes on your neck, like a little pocket necklace that you could put stuff into. So inside of this pocket necklace, I have a crystal that is big as hell, like a fat crystal quartz, and I have this patch that I have found at my
Hmm.
grandmother's house. My grandmother gave it to me like, yo, she was like, oh, you had this since you was little. Like, and I was like, where did I get this? And my grandmother was like, I don't know, mijo. Like, you had this since you was a kid. Like, here, like, and it was a patch of some army thing, something that has to do with something like with the army or whatever. And this lady was asking me questions about this whatever army thing, and I was like, no, I don't know nothing. And then she asked me if I knew Terry Goodkind, and I was like,
Mm.
who's? I don't know who he was, but she said that he was in that 20 back program, that he was also somebody that was put into this place and dealt with some shit that had to do with the same ship that I was describing to her how it was made with the petrified wood,
Hmm.
petrified ship that goes a giant spaceship, and that he has something to do with that. I don't know, but you know what I mean. I don't really
Yeah.
feed into stuff, but um, I'll show you the thing, yo. It's a weird patch. I'll show it to you tomorrow. I posted it before. I showed it to somebody. I forgot who I showed it to before, but I'll show you the patch, yo. It's a weird patch, and
She
it's
gave it
something.
to you.
No, I had it when I was a kid
You had
somehow.
it already. You don't know how
Yeah,
you got it. Huh?
no, I don't know how I got it. My grandmother, it
Wow.
was in my grandmother's house. My grandmother gave it to me. She was like, "Oh, look at that's your stuff right there," and I had stuff in there, and then I found the patch in there, and I was like, "What is this?" And she was like, "You had that when you was a kid." And I was like,
Uh,
what?
uh, shit, man. Right when you
Yeah.
said that, the stream shut off. It said like something about community guidelines.
Oh, you see? Yeah, that's because
Yeah.
probably maybe I said the dude's name or maybe something, but or maybe it's just the algorithm. I'm not supposed to talk about certain things, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I don't
Well,
really
I'm still recording it on my computer, so it's not lost. I'm gonna re-upload it again. Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
sometimes like sometimes some they say that I mean like I've been quiet my whole life. Like there's things that I'll take to the grave I'll never talk about. And it's like just things that maybe I should tell someone, but I don't feel the need to. Like you know what I'm saying? And so it's just I'm a very sealed lip person, like naturally. So my grandmother's training since my home training has always been my grandmother's cautious of people, doesn't talk much to people. She talks to only friends and she's very friendly to people, but information about herself she won't give you, like you feel me, and information about
Right.
things that like so it's like I don't talk about nothing, but when some people talk to me it's easy for me to talk to them, it's easy for me to talk to you, it's easy for me to talk to Booker and people in the
Mhm.
group in the chat line or whatever. I mean in the in the Discord, but I don't have Facebook. I don't have none of that stuff. I never signed into none of these things. I never cared for it because um I don't really talk to people in real life. You feel me? Like none of them I see the dead behind the eyeballs of people just repeating something they seen
Mm.
on TV or just talking to just oh how's the weather today type shit. Like you're just a robot. Like you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So it's like
Yeah.
I don't really have much to say to them because there's no point in talking to them. You know what I'm saying? Like they
Ah,
just it's like NPCs. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them.
right.
Not everyone. You know what I'm saying? But it's for the most part it's like they're all distractions, yo. Like they stop all distractions to stop a motherfucker from getting things done. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. And like I mean, if you have to, like when we talk about side missions and stuff, some NPCs have a little bit more autonomy than the normal NPC.
Mhm.
However, we try to keep our engagement with NPCs to a minimum, you know.
You remember the red that you told me before. You brought it back up to me. The red lady in red. You know what I'm saying? The lady in
Yeah.
red is
Mhm.
as you go through this reality, the lady in red appears because reality is being created as we go, and as it's your
Right. It's
choice to
rendered.
make. It's another option for you to take or not. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like
Yeah.
everything else. Like you know what I mean? If the reality needs an observer, then it's definitely based on where we going, what we're doing, what we talking about. Like it like to prove it to ourselves, like, oh, I ain't gonna do this. And then when you say you ain't gonna do this, that specific thing will come across your path. Like, here you go, then let's see if you're not gonna do it then. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Instant karma. People call it
Yeah,
instant karma, but it's like you're saying it, you're rendering it around
yeah,
the corner. Yeah. Like I'm
yeah.
about to go downstairs right now, and
That's why
everything's
they
gonna start
say.
to render.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they say to bring to talk about things, bring up people around you that talk about certain things or write things down, do this, do all these things about the same thing to get that thing to pop up because it will. It
Yeah.
forces the algorithm to appear. And
Yeah.
so that's why the government is so concentrated on getting us to pay attention to what they want us to pay attention to because it makes their reality stronger.
Right.
Like you know
Right.
what
It
I'm saying?
does. Yeah.
They're we're consumers. You know what I'm saying? So they want us to continue to be consumers.
Right. And they
You
spend a
know what
lot
I
of
mean?
money doing this, a lot of money and effort in trying to get our attention because that's the most precious thing you can have.
If you're a consumer, they want you to continue to consume. So the biggest thing they got us going with is the food and the poison they give us in the foods, like the
Mhm.
stuff that they put into it to stretch it, to make it last longer on the shelf, to make it faker as possible, so that they could sell it as long as possible, and they don't have to keep replacing it. They don't have to find the infinite source. It could just be made, and it could just be put on a shelf, and we could just come buy it infinitely, and they don't have to get it from anywhere. They could just tell us it's cow. They could just tell us it's this, and it's not, and they could just tell us it's cereal and whatever it's not, but it's just chemicals that make that box of cereal. They could just keep replacing the box and put it into a new box to make it to change the date, and that's it. It's like space food. It's like astronaut food. It's like shit that could
Mm.
last. on shelves for so long that you think that it's expired. You would never eat that if you had it in your house. You would throw it in the trash. But if they had it in the supermarket, they would put the date on it and sell it to you again and again, over and over until that shit is not there no more. They don't throw that shit away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They send it to places to recycle that bitch anyways, wherever they send it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? No matter where it goes, it's coming back.
Like a boomerang.
Yeah. That thing doesn't go to a dump. None of those boxes of cereal, none of those things that are in the supermarkets, none of those things go to the dump.
Yeah. Now here the recycling truck, it used to be a recycling truck that picks up the garbage. Now it's the same truck as the garbage truck. So they mix everything together, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So man,
Out of
out of control, bro. Man, this was fun. This was fun, bro. This is like old times, man, but new
as
times.
usual, fool. You
Yeah, let's
know,
do it again. Let's do it again, man.
we'll be talking, chopping it up for 15 hours. You already know,
I
man.
know, easily. Now I'm gonna. Now I'm kind of like, fuck, man. I also too. I think maybe it's because I was showing all that like Smurfs and stuff too in the background, trying to be cool. But all that matters really is
All
the
you gotta
damn
do is
audio.
DJ it and just throw in the backdrop of
Yeah, I'm gonna
everything
do
else.
that. Yeah, I'm gonna take that out. I just gotta. I'm just gonna, and I'm gonna re-upload it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
re-upload it, take out that other shit because the most
That's all it
important is
takes
our
for somebody to
voices.
think that. You know how people be like neat freaks and stuff like that. That's all it takes for
Yeah,
people to be podcasting. They just if they really listen to what we're talking about. I mean, somebody who's gonna do the because you're doing it yourself though. So it's like you gotta
yeah,
at the key moments when we're talking, you gotta plug in this
exactly,
picture or that
exactly,
picture to follow the trail or the breadcrumbs of what we're
exactly.
saying.
What we're
The
talking about.
analogies of this and that. Like you feel me? The side
When
missions.
when in fact I'm just gonna keep it. This is a good lesson. I'm just gonna keep in this totally focus on the conversation because I can always later on, do what I do, like
Yeah,
add on to the thing. But
for
it's
sure.
yeah, I can't help myself because the story is going so good. Like I need to, I need to do some more. Yeah. Hey.
No
All right,
doubt.
man. Come on, man. I'm gonna hit you up. I'll hit you up later, bro. I appreciate you coming through, bro, on
No
this
doubt.
Book of Gabriel test stream podcast. Mystery Ozo in the house, in the building. You know,
Mm.
spitting that fire as usual. Yeah, man. I might have to chop up too. Like that mushroom segment was good too. That was good. Yeah. All right, man. Any final words?
Man, I forgot, man. There was just something I
I
would
forgot.
have to tell you, man, and I forgot all about it, B.
All
But
right.
that's the thing for next time. You know what I mean? To be
We'll sa-
continued, man.
we'll save it to next time. And shout out to my mom once again.
Word up. Shout out to your mom, man.
My mom and my brother and me right there before she
No
passed.
doubt.
Yeah. Dog pound for life. The Italian Greyhounds. Yeah, so yeah, peace, bro. I'll hit you up, bro.
No doubt, man.
No doubt. No doubt. And in the coming days, we'll see you next time here on the Book of Gabriel.